Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah. Other nicknames or usages with which God is praised, such as Chan v'Rachum. He was merciful and compassionate. We go into the Peirush HaGodol, who was great, Hagibor, who was strong, Ha'anoira, who was awesome, Ha'ne'eman, who was trustworthy, Kanoi, who is zealous, Chazak, and powerful. These names are found in the Torah. Chan v'Rachum is found in Chumash Shmoyis. Ha'Noira is in Dvorim. Ha'ne'eman is in Dvorim. Kanoi is B'Shem Mois. Chazak is the Posuk Yirmiyahu. U'Shiyotze and other names that are similar. Like it is Amitz, the Izus, that the Gemara mentions in shiur 35a. Hareihen Kishar Kizei HaKodesh. They are like other writings of the holy writings. Umuta L'moichkoi. If you erase them, you're not liable for erasing them. We find this in shiur 35a. So David Aramo, he questions how could the Rambam say that you're permitted to erase these other names with which God is referred to. And in Halacha Ches, he says it's forbidden to destroy or burn the holy writings, any of them, even the commentaries and their clarifications. And he writes that if you do so, one is liable to rabbinical lashes. And he answers that when you do it, you lose it or you burn it. There is a greater shame more so than erasing. The Hilchos Chinuch writes a different differentiation in the name of some of the later commentaries. By a name with which God is referred to, it's talking about that you have to erase it for a need, and therefore it's permitted. However, if he erases or burns or erases just for destruction, that's what's forbidden. And there are levels that are even worse, that even, which is the 7 names of the holy names that we mentioned earlier, that even if you need to erase them, you can't do so. This is brought down in the Litvaz on Hilchos Klei HaMikdash. Here we're talking about that what's permitted that when he erases it for need. The Gris questions, why did the Rambam add they are like other holy writings and you permitted to erase them? The forbiddenness of erasing God's name is not because it's a holy writing, only because it refers to the sanctity of God's name. And even if it would be written on a shard or on a vessel, it's forbidden to erase it for need. And therefore, the Rambam should have written you can erase it for need. And he explains that the name of Hashem, there's 2 aspects. There is a sanctity regarding that they're not erased, and there's another law that applies to them, that they are holy writings, even if they did not intend, they weren't written on parchment, and they were written correctly. Therefore, the Rambam writes that even though other names have a sanctity which is not the same as the 7 names, but as far as the holy writings, they do have that same level of sanctity. You can't erase them without need. The intent of the Rambam is to add that there is a sanctity of the mentioning of the names, like other holy writings, from their actual being, even though they don't have a kedusha, a sanctity of the names that are not written. So the Rambam writes in Hilchos Kriyas that it's permitted to say words secular items in the holy language in the bathroom. And also, one can mention that God is merciful and chanun, compassionate and trustworthy, etc. in a Beis HaKisei. But special names that aren't erased, you can't mention in a Beis HaKisei. The Rebbe disagrees, since we don't find the Shem Rachum merciful except regarding God. Therefore, you can't mention it in a toilet. Meaning, the Rebbe is Rachum is from the names that are not erasable, and the question is why didn't he say the same thing here on the Rambam, that Rachum is from the names that are not erased? Why didn't the Rebbe emphasize this? Now, on the actual opinion of the Rebbe, that we don't find Rachum except referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Rabbeinu Yonah disagrees. We find Rachum and Tzaddik on a person who's a Tzaddik, because in Tillim it says that a person who is a Yirei Hashem, we say Chanun v'Rachum and Tzaddik. So you find that the word Chanun and Rachum is used even for a personage, not only for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for God. The Evan Ozel on Hilchos Yesodei answers that the intent of the Rebbe is not to say that Rachum is from the names that are not erased, because the Gemara says specifically in Shavuos 35a that it is from the names that are erased, like the Rambam explicitly stated in Hilchos Shavuos. The Rachum is only a connotation of God's name, but it's not God's name. The Rebbe does not disagree with him there. That has a law of one of the 7 names. But certainly, the Rebbe is of the opinion that Rachum is not like the 7 names that are forbidden to be erased. But since Rachum is specifically associated with God, therefore, you can't say it in a defiled place. It's like you can't say Shalom in a defiled place, even though it's only an added name for Hashem. It's not from the 7 names that are not erased. But they were more stringent on Shalom not to say it in a bathroom. We should point out, incidentally, that the Rambam left out the din, this law that's forbidden to say Shalom in Beis HaKisei, and the Achronim have noted that. But here we can't go into at length why that is so. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Sanhedrin, somebody curses himself, receives lashes, like he would have cursed someone else, because it says, be careful and watch yourself, your soul very much. And this is true whether he curses himself, Chas v'Shalom, or his friend, or a leader, or a dayan. He doesn't receive malchus until he uses one of the names, like the 7 names, Kol, Ekim, Shakai, but, or a kinoi, a connotation or a nickname from those that God is referred to, like Chanun v'Kanoi. Now, regarding the names of Hashem Yisborach in other languages, the Rambam writes, if he did it in any language, he's liable. Because the names that you call, the Goyim call HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they are like all the Kinuyim. So Rabbi Kiva Eger says in the name of Tashbats, that one of the 7 names that are not erasable, which are written in the language of the Goyim, they have a din like a nickname, and one could erase them for need. But according to the Shach, he writes Hanemon, if you say the one who is trustworthy in his Lashon Chol, which means in non-Hebrew language, has no sanctity at all, you can erase it. Like writing the word Gott, which is in German, or Bug, which is in Polish. In the question, the Chochmos questions, if somebody curses with that name, he's liable. What's the difference between the two? Rabbi Kiva also writes in his Tshuvas that it's forbidden to mention without need the name of Hashem in languages other than Hebrew. It's still forbidden. And he proves this from the Hilchos Shiur of the Rambam. Somebody swears in the name of God in any language, it's called an absolute oath. And therefore, Rabbi Vega says that he concludes that even though you say it in English or another language, you transgress. For not say, if the transgression of you shall not use the name of God in vain. Even the Shach permitted to erase it. Why did he permit it? The reason is because it's only a connotation. And one is permitted to erase them, even though they have all the dinim but regarding oath. Here too, if it's written in a non-Jewish, non-Hebrew language, like in Yiddish Gott, and it would apply as far as an oath, but you can erase it. And now we understand what the Chochmas Odom is not contradicting the Shach. So we say no, that the names that are in other languages, you have to be careful with them, and they're called connotations of Hashem, that you can erase them when there is a need to do so.